February 8th council meeting. Everybody rise. Do not have anyone to deliver. Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. Let's pray. Lord, our lives feel so small, our vision so limited, our courage so frail, our hours so fleeting. Therefore, give us grace and guidance for the time we do have. We are gathered here because we believe that we are called together into a work we cannot yet know the fullness of. Still, we trust the voice of the one who has called us. And so we offer to you, O God, these things, our dreams, our plans, our vision. Shape them as you will, our moments and our gifts. May they be invested toward bright, eternal ends. Richly bless the work before us, Father. Shepherd us well, lest we grow enamored of our own accomplishment or entrenched in old habit. Instead, let us listen for your voice, our hearts ever open to the quiet beckonings of your Spirit. Let us in true humility and poverty of spirit remain ever ready to move at the impulse of your love and paths of your design. You alone, O God, by your gracious and life-giving Spirit, have power to knit our imperfect hearts, our weaknesses, our strengths, our stories, and our gifts one to another. Unite your people and multiply our meager offerings, O Lord, that all might resound to your glory. Amen.
All right, please face the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Franzen.
Here.
Mrs. Hoover.
Here.
Ms. Royce.
Here.
Mr. Kelsch.
Here.
Mrs. Winterbauer.
Here.
Mr. Thompson.
Here.
Mr. Braden.
Here.
Thank you. We have 3 amendments to the agenda this evening. After the minutes of previous meetings, we're going to be adding a presentation by the Safety Service Director. We will be removing the 3rd ordinance under L to a later date. And we will be adding communications. It will be P3, Mayor's Court fines. Mr. Braden.
Question, please?
Yes, sir.
So you said an ordinance in L,
Yeah.
L1, 2, or 3, or
L3 we're removing.
L3 we're removing? Yes, sir. So I'd like to make a motion that we amend the agenda as stated.
Mr. Braden, motion?
I'll second the motion. Oh, sorry. I'll second the motion.
Please call the roll, please.
Mrs. Franzen.
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
Ms. Royce.
Yes.
Mr. Kelsch.
Yes.
Mrs. Winterbauer.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Braden.
Yes, sir.
Motion passes. We're moving on to minutes of previous meetings.
Thank you.
Mr. Braden.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move that we accept the minutes as written.
Mr. Braden, motions to accept minutes as read. Ms. Hoover,
I second.
second by Mrs. Hoover.
Is that both sets or just one?
Both sets, correct?
Yes, sir.
Both sets. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Franzen.
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
Ms. Royce.
Yes.
Mr. Kelsch.
Yes.
Mrs. Winterbauer.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Braden.
Yes, sir.
Right, next on the agenda was our presentation by the Safety Service Director, I believe. Those involved would please step up to the microphone, please.
Thank you. I'm not sure where everybody is. We were asked to be here tonight at 7:30 for an award. As you may or may not know, last year, Mayor Schneider had an idea that he wanted to do backyard composting. And so Tom Perry and then Safety Service Director John Murphy became aware of a grant opportunity through Hamilton County Environmental Services. They tagged me, since I have a relationship with those folks, with writing the grant. Tom and I put it together, Mr. Murphy approved it, we submitted it, and we asked for money it was a 25% match, so we asked for funds to purchase 50 compost bins, backyard compost bins. In the grant, we said that not only would we provide these for free, but in order for people to be successful, we would have education on that. So I think that probably had a lot to do with us getting the grant. So we got the grant, we put it out there. Sharon Stein got stuck with taking all of the emails from people who decided that they wanted a compost bin. I tapped my good friend here, Renee, who was a master gardener, to do the classes. Sharon is quite the shopper, and so she actually got a discount, and with our not having tax, and she found some other compost bins, we're actually able to purchase 74 of them. And so imagine 74 emails and phone calls, and how come Donna hasn't contacted me yet? So Renee and I scheduled 3 classes down at Millcrest, Lower Millcrest, Upper Millcrest, I don't know. We had 3 classes, and of the 74 that were given out, probably about 65 people attended. There were a couple who was a composter at the zoo, and I was like, don't bother to come. Other people had composted in the past. So I received a phone call a couple weeks ago. I almost hung up on him because I didn't know who it was. Like, is this Donna Lake? Yeah, who is this? You know, well, my name is Gage, and I'm with Hamilton County. I think you got a grant from me. And I was like, oh, attitude change. So he informed us that we were going to get an award for our innovative project. Not only did we give out 74 bins, and Renee educated them, but we're following up with them like quarterly or every 4 or 5 months, sending out some information, checking back with people. We have to report how many people are still active in the program for 2 years. The first year is coming up pretty soon.
Early summer?
Yeah, so we'll try to keep people engaged. I have a really good, really nice compost in my yard, my bin right now. I can't get to it to empty it out to start another one. But hopefully, I don't throw food scraps away anymore. I've always been a composter, but I really took it to the next level, thanks to Renee teaching us. And so these are the folks who put it together. I was just the point person because I knew the people at Hamilton County Environmental. So I don't know where Gage is or where our award is, but we were asked to be here tonight, so maybe it was an April Fool's joke, I don't know. So that's why we're here. And I don't know where he is, but he asked that we take a picture when he gave us the award, so I don't know if somebody wants to take a picture or not, so. So that's why we're here. You all want to say anything?
Thank you, Donna. Through my 27 years in the department and then with the police chief's job, 28 years later coming back to be the boss, I found that collaborative efforts on all levels get us things in places and results that we would not get by ourselves. I hope that continues. We don't do it to get awards, but it's for the good of the order. Our city's changing. Many young people want to see that. The old days of Norwood, of the old folks, I think there are some out there that get involved. But the new citizens, this is what they want. So hopefully this continues, and the council members that were here when I was here, we had a lot of back and forth on things, but we got it done. So, I'm even working when I'm not paid anymore.
Thank you.
I'd just like to thank John Murphy and Donna Lake for giving me the opportunity to engage with the citizens in an education format. I'm a retired teacher, so it's been a while. And as a master gardener with the OSU Hamilton County Extension Office, I have to do so many hours of volunteer work per year and take so many hours of education. And with the pandemic, last year, all of that was education hours. So I had 30 hours plus of education banging around in the old noggin. So I appreciate everybody who came to the classes so I could kind of empty my brain for them and just give them something to think about. So it was great being back in the saddle as a teacher again. Thanks.
I just want to thank Donna for this opportunity. I was currently, when I was with the city, I was working on a lot of different grants, and this opportunity came about, and I knew that she had worked with the county extensively, with the office that does these type of grants, and I don't think we could have gotten the grants without her help. And I think this just shows that it really does take everybody. I mean, Harry Truman said that it's amazing what you can get accomplished when you don't care who gets the credit, and I think this team exemplifies that, and I hope that continues. I think that that's really, really important, that the city works with citizens, works with council, and everyone's on the same page working together towards a common goal. So, I just want to thank Donna, Renee, they did the heavy lifting. Sharon did a lot of heavy lifting as well, and then John was always there to support us and to encourage us. So it's a great opportunity.
No one's going to speak.
It was an interesting project that Tom Perry left me with. But it was good because a lot of people in the community were reaching out, a lot of new names I didn't recognize. I lived in Norwood 58 years, and then I got a job here when I moved away. But it was good, and I got to, my part, shopping was good. So it was a fun time. So I'm glad people are participating and enjoying it.
Is anybody here from Olin Mills?
I can
Nobody knows what that is.
You want a picture, Donna?
Yeah, he asked us, I don't know why, maybe we can Photoshop him in later. Yeah, do you mind? I do not mind.
You want to stand by
Where do you want
the
us? Up
door?
just to you?
Don't put me in the problem.
Get out of the way.
Look behind
I
that.
know where we are.
Or do you want to take your mask off? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
probably.
Oh, that'd be open.
Get a pen from Jerry.
Photoshop it
All right, real quick. One.
Wait a minute.
The
mirror. The hearing aids do not be set on there. Do not get along, folks.
That's it.
Effort.
All right.
1, 2, 3. There you go. Thank you. Thank you guys for doing that.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If we ever see the award, we'll let you see it.
All right, moving on, we don't have any public hearings tonight. Next is request to address council. First up is Kate Wetzel.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for your time. I'm coming tonight just for a reminder for the Gem of the Community award ceremony that's coming up. I just want to thank everyone who submitted nominations. We got a lot of response, so for the first year, that is fantastic. So the team is now going through the nominations, and the award winners will be contacted within the next several days. So really exciting. So next up is the event on February 24th. It's at 5:30 at the Ventura, and it's a free event, but we just ask that you register at, there's an Eventbrite link on norwoodtogether.org's website. We just want to know how many people for food and whatnot. So it's going to be an exciting event, a great way to celebrate the community, get out in the middle of the winter. So I hope to see everyone there. Any questions or? All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Next, we have Laura Sullivan and Alicia Locke.
Hi, everybody. Alicia and I are here to talk about an event that has kind of come together with very much haste, but very much grassroots to celebrate our local team heading to the Super Bowl. The event is called Show Your Stripes on Houday Way. We are temporarily naming Wasson Way Houday Way for the day. The event will start at 4 p.m. We have a grand marshal. It'll be Karen Murphy and Lieutenant Ron Murphy. We'll also have, I think, a speech from the mayor.
Yeah, the mayor will be there to say the words.
We're still working on maybe getting a marching band at this point.
Still working on it.
Still working on it,
If
hopefully.
you know a drummer, let us know.
But yeah, it'll be a really great event for the family and kids. We'll have coffee provided by Red 5 Coffee. We will have balloons, hot chocolate, a sign-making station, music, hopefully with a band. But if not, we've got some really good playlists. There'll be a pregame at Kathy's at 3 p.m. with $2 off any beverages. And also we'll have snacks there provided by Indian Mound. We'll start the event starts, the Kathy's event starts at 3, but the event technically starts on Wasson Way at the scooter store but at 4 o'clock.
Montgomery and Wasson Way.
Boston Way, by the scooter store, not at the scooter, yeah. And then we'll start the walk at 4:30 and end on the pedestrian bridge and just wave at cars as they pass by and hold up signs and just party. And then at the end, we'll meet everybody back at the Listerman Trail House. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's gonna be a great time. Any questions?
What's the date on that again?
the Saturday before the game,
This Saturday.
this Saturday, yes.
4 p.m. Unless you're pre-gaming at Cappy's.
And then it's 3
And
p.m.
then it's 3. Absolutely.
But yes, there's also an event information on Facebook if you look up the name and, yeah.
Should be a really good time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
So cool.
Thanks for organizing it.
Awesome.
Who Dey?
Great job.
Last, we have Bishop Sonny James.
Good evening. May God bless us all for really just being alive and being here. This is Black History Month, and I want to give a shout out to Lovie Smith. Many of you have heard that there were 9 NFL head coaching positions available, and several of those positions had already been distributed. And then because of Mr. Flores bringing attention to racial disparities amongst coaches, as of yesterday, it was announced that Lovie Smith now will take one of those 9 spots. Now, why is that so important? Well, it's very important because as Norwood's demographics change, let me just first, I don't know if he's still here, he may have left. It was good to see Mr. Murphy here amongst us today. It's nice to see old Norwood come together and greet new Norwood. And so it was good to see him here with us. I'm all for celebrations. I'm all for positive events. And we are making great strides. In fact, we did our pop-up marches for Martin Luther King, and it was very exciting. We even now have a banner going across Montgomery Road recognizing the late, great Dr. Martin Luther King, and that's phenomenal. But now we are here at Black History Month, and we will again do pop-up marches throughout the city, throughout the month. And then we'll have a big one toward the end of the month. My thing for us really is to come together more often and really make it a point to end the old nasty head that plagues this community by people on the outside still saying that Norwood hasn't changed. Well, Norwood is changing, and Norwood is changing for the better. At the same time, like Mr. Flores is challenging the NFL, facts cannot be turned away. And so as we move forward, We had started last year with an idea coming together. And there were some of you that were here so that we can come together and people of color could be at the table to discuss some of the disparities that we still face in Norwood. And folks, let me just drop a bomb on you. We still face disparities in Norwood. At the same time, the focus shouldn't always be on the negative. The focus, my desire, is that our focus shifts to the good things that we're doing, not forgetting the past, because that's what angers people of color specifically. When we want to pretend and act like the history is not the history. When all you have to do is drive by or go to any of your local bars and ask some of the patrons, what do you think about Norwood? And you'll hear those same antics. But I think if we work together, especially during Black History Month, and we begin to highlight and celebrate some of the successes that people of color specifically have achieved while they've been here in Norwood, I think we'll take a big step in continuing our press forward for unity and equality and togetherness. Because trust and believe, I know a lot of people love Norwood, and I have to put my hat in the ringer with them, right at the top. And so I love this community, and I love some of the things that we're doing, but if we're going to be Norwood together, then let's be Norwood together. If we're going to say that we're coming together as one, then let's invite those that don't get an invitation, as opposed to just picking someone because of maybe they have a brown skin. Let's make sure that we bring everybody to the table so that everybody can be a part of our growth and our advancement. I try to be nice because as I walked in tonight, I saw Donna Lake, and there are just a couple of people in Norwood that make me a little nervous, and that's Mrs. Booth over at the school and Mrs. Lake. They both have proven to stand up to me and challenge me if they thought I said something wrong, and I respect that. But at the same time, guys, let us make sure that we support each other and support Black History Month. The events that we will have, come out and show your support. Don't just support the other programs. Come out and show your support. It's really important. God bless you all. I love Norwood, and I know you do the same. God bless you all. Peace.
Thank you. Moving on, we have no standing committees of council reports, so move to third reading of ordinances, resolutions. Ordinance authorizing the settlement of a claim by Meg Albers and declaring an emergency. Mr. Kelch?
I'll make a motion, we have a third reading.
Motion to have the third reading. Mrs. Hoover?
Second the motion.
Second by Mrs. Hoover. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Franzen.
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
Ms. Royce.
Yes.
Mr. Kelch.
Yes.
Mrs. Winterbauer.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Braden.
Yes, sir.
Ordinance authorizing the settlement of a claim by Meg Albers and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Kelch?
Make a motion to pass the ordinance.
Motion to pass the ordinance. Mrs. Hoover?
I second.
Second by Mrs. Hoover. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Franzen.
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
Ms. Royce.
Yes.
Mr. Kelch.
Yes.
Mrs. Winterbauer.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Braden.
Yes, sir.
Motion passes. We have no second readings of ordinances, resolutions. We'll move on to introductory readings of ordinances. Number one, ordinance to change appropriations for the year 2022 and declaring an emergency. Mrs. Winterbauer?
Motion for first reading?
We have a motion for our first reading. Mr. Braden?
I'll second that.
Second, the motion for first reading. Please call the roll.
Any discussion?
Oh, any discussion? Mr. Kelch?
Before we just dedicate ourselves to one reading, do we know yet if this is something that's pressing? Is this just something that can go through readings, or is it something we need now? Is there any guidance along with this?
This is, I've talked with the auditor about this. This is just adjusting funds on things that we had passed last year. The things that we passed last year were estimates. This is just making it exact now that it's happened. So it's really just bookkeeping. So I don't know if there's any urgency to it, but that's what it is.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion is to have one reading of the ordinance. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Ms. Royce?
Yes.
Mr. Kelch?
Yes.
Mrs. Winterbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Braden?
Yes, sir.
Ordinance to change appropriations for the year 2022 and declaring an emergency.
Our second ordinance, an ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to enter into a joint agreement with Hamilton County regarding a grant for and adopting policies and procedures for the creation, administration, and implementation of a storefront facade improvement program. Mrs. Franzen.
I make a motion to have the first reading?
Motion to have the first reading. Mrs. Hoover?
Second?
Second by Mrs. Hoover. Please call the roll.
Discussion?
Oh, sorry, discussion. Mrs. Winterbauer?
I had a question on it. I saw that all the improvements have to be done within a 2-year period.
Mhm.
So I wasn't sure. I haven't asked Noah or the idea on that. If it's doable, it's like saying, we get the money and we just have 2 years. If anything goes past that, will we be then responsible to pay for it if the improvements aren't complete? Do we know that?
I don't know, do you know that, Mr. Moore?
I can say that as a rule, like, part of this is that there will be an agreement with the property owner, and all of the property, the work has to be done within a certain amount of time, and that's the window the county gave us
Okay.
as far as how they would go with the grant. I would mention that Mike Skelly is here, who knows a lot more, kind of more about this, I think, than I do, and council might want to have him come up and kind of explain what it is that's going on.
Would you like to come up and address council?
Sure, it's your pleasure. So good evening, council, members of the audience. So my name is Mike Skelly. I'm your community development director. So with regards to your specific question, the 2-year frame is more to ensure, and again, everyone's heard about the delays, supply chain, et cetera, because of the pandemic. We're hoping, and typically for a building permit, you have 1 year. For certain things, we're just ensuring that it gets done. The action item tonight is definitely for signing the authorizing ordinance and also the joint agreement. And from the discussions that we've had with the county, that should be fine, and it gives us a little bit more, wiggle room in terms of getting this done. To me, having like a 6-month or a 1-year duration would be probably inappropriate for this. So that's why. I'm happy to give a little bit more background if that's the desire of council, or if you guys are satisfied.
Mr. Braden.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. So I understand us as a body wanting us to do one reading at a time, but a lot of times when we have 3 readings and call for an emergency, that's just, when we have housekeeping like this, or we have something that we're wanting a grant, maybe you can, if sometimes timing is an issue. So, and I understand wanting one reading, but, like I said, if it's housekeeping, or if it's something like this that you might be going after something, maybe we have all 3 readings and just pass this, and just a thought, anyway, do you have anything to say about that?
No, if council is comfortable, I don't believe there's any restrictions on having the 3 readings and then letting it go through. You obviously have the law director here, so it's up to your comfort level. I don't think there's, unlike the item for the CRA, I don't think there's really anything precluding you from taking, action tonight.
Mr. Braden. Thank you. Real quick, it doesn't matter to me. A lot of times if it's housekeeping, I'm a big proponent of getting it off our list and moving on to bigger and better things. So it doesn't matter. If it's something that'll help out, we call for an emergency, we have all 3 readings, and then we pass it, and then a lot of times it just works better that way. So, and I understand the not wanting to do that, but anyway, that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So the motion is to have the first reading of the ordinance. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Ms. Royce?
Yes.
Mr. Kelch?
Yes.
Mrs. Winterbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Braden?
Yes, sir.
An ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to enter into a joint agreement with Hamilton County regarding a grant for and adopting policies and procedures for the creation, administration, and implementation of a storefront facade improvement program.
Thank you. Moving on to administration reports. I don't believe we have anybody to give those here tonight. So next would be unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? All right. Move on to new business. Is there any new business? All right. Well, I've got new business. So we've got a couple of public hearings coming up, so I'm going to read through those. Posting, public hearings, Norwood City Council. Date will be Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022 at 7:30 PM here in Council Chambers at 4645 Montgomery Road, Norwood, Ohio, 45212. Norwood City Council will hold a public hearing to review the Playing Card Partners' request that the existing planned unit development plan for Factory 52 Plan 1 be modified to allow for a 1,100 square foot, single-story retail or restaurant jewel box to be located on the central common open space with a municipal address of 2755 Park Avenue, and 2, that the existing planned unit development plan for the Factory 52 plan be changed to allow for the inclusion of a new single-story building that will be used as a combined pickleball, restaurant, and bar located on the 1.72 acre parcel at the northwest corner of the PUD development with a municipal address of 2730 Maverick Drive, and that the proposed changes be forwarded to City Council for their review and approval. These plan documents are available to view during normal business hours in the Norwood Building Department, first floor, 4645 Montgomery Road, Norwood, Ohio, 45212. And our second posting of public hearing for Norwood City Council, date Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022, 7:30 PM here in Council Chambers, 4645 Montgomery Road, Norwood, Ohio, 45212. Norwood City Council will hold a public hearing to review amending Part 2, Chapter 1111 Definitions and Chapter 1141 Central Business District of the Norwood Codified Ordinances to allow clinic, open aircraft, and/or farmers market and other suitable uses. These changes were recommended by the Norwood Planning Commission at their meeting, which took place on January 5th, 2022. The full ordinance is available to view during normal business hours in the Clerk of Court's office, second floor, 4645 Montgomery Road, Norwood, Ohio, 45212. Also would like to request the clerk send a letter to community religious leaders inviting them to participate in our invocations that we have at the beginning of our meetings. I've got a draft of the letter that I will send via email to everybody, but basically just kind of outlines the process of how to sign up and why we're doing it, and we just want to be able to do that so that people can begin to sign up and come to deliver that invocation for us. Is there any other new business? All right, Mrs. Franzen?
I just did want to mention that in addition to the parade for the Bengals and, of course, the Super Bowl, the rec department continues to have some pretty fun stuff going on. There's a paint and sip event on Friday, which still has some openings, where you paint a painting and sip a beverage of your choice, alcoholic or not. And, yeah, if you want to go check that out, there's still spots available. I will be there. So you can come because of that or not come because of that, either way. Just trying to get the word out. And the adult basketball league's also opening, still open.
Any other new business? All right, moving on to communications. Our first communication from Jim Stith, the auditor, regarding the assistant deputy auditor's salary.
Dear members of council, the auditor's office is hiring a new assistant deputy auditor. We have found an excellent and experienced candidate, Jeffrey Forstoffer. Given his background, education, and experience, we are requesting a starting salary of $40,000 a year, which is approximately $19.23 per hour. This amount is within the council-established salary range and can be managed within the 2022 budget. This is the same salary as the previous employee in this position. As this amount is above the lowest level of salary range, we are requesting council's approval of this starting rate. Sincerely, Jim Stith, Auditor, City of Norwood.
Mr. Braden?
Motion that we receive and file the letter.
Motion is to receive and file. Second, Mr. Kelch? Any discussion?
But I'm just curious, does council want to approve that salary or not?
Oh.
Receive and file would be, no, we're not approving that, we'll accept the letter.
Okay, so would you, Mr. Braden?
Sure, motion to receive and file and approve of the salary rate.
All right?
I'm in my second.
Second. Any discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Ms. Royce?
Yes.
Mr. Kelch?
Yes.
Mrs. Winterbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Braden?
Yes, sir.
Moving on to our second communication, Ohio Divisions of Liquor Control, Schaefer's Tavern renewal objection.
Dear Mr. Gary, the D1236 liquor permit issued to Schaefer's Tavern LLC, number 8016310 at 5400 Carthage Avenue, Norwood, Ohio 45212, has been canceled due to the permit holder's failure to file a renewal application. Therefore, Norwood City Council's renewal objection is now moot, and a Division of Liquor Control hearing will not be held. If you have any questions concerning this matter, please contact our office at 614-644-2496. Sincerely, Hallie Safarin, Assistant Division Counsel.
Mr. Kelch?
Motion to receive and file the letter.
Motion is to receive and file the letter. Mrs. Hoover?
I second.
Second. Any discussion? Mr. Braden?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm curious if anyone has any, I kind of just heard a little bit of that. So Schaefer's had the liquor permit, and now it is, that's Stoney's now. So did they transfer this liquor permit to Stoney's now? Is this what happened, and does the law department have anything to say about that?
Mr. Moore?
Thank you. The Stoney's, last year, council objected to the renewal of Stoney's liquor permit. The permit is actually still held under the name of Schaefer's because Schaefer never paid off some back taxes, so it was a provisional license to Stoney's. They scheduled the hearing, they pushed it back. They scheduled the hearing, they pushed it back. The issue came up that because of those back taxes, maybe they shouldn't have it. It never should have transferred. But this is the last thing I heard, which says that they've not filed the Stoney's, who's actually was operating the thing. They have not filed to renew the permit for the forthcoming year. So there is no permit at that location.
Okay.
As of now.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Ms. Franzen?
Thank you, Mr. President. Is there any chance that they would appeal this? Like, is there a chance for them to submit a renewal late or anything like that? Or is this kind of it for them at this point?
Mr. Moore?
I don't think there is. If you don't file the renewal, on time, if you don't file for a renewal, you don't get a renewal. I don't know if there's a way, and I would guess that they didn't because there was no way to pay off, some back fees, some back taxes, some permit fees kind of things, and that would be my guess. But I don't know of any way to be able to do that. In theory, Schaefer's could sell it to him again, or try to sell it to him again, but that's where we are.
Mr. Braden?
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. So I just want to clarify something, because I was here for that vote, and what I think I voted on that night was not to deny their liquor permit renewal. I believe we voted to have a meeting in Columbus about that liquor permit, to have a meeting. So I think, I could be wrong, you could, so, okay, that's all. I wanted to, because it's not my place to say they can't have one, but the state of Ohio will have a meeting and say whether or not they are allowed to have that. So I'm trying to figure out, so I guess they could just buy another liquor permit, so I'm just talking in my head now, so
I think because they didn't apply for another liquor permit, then that meeting that we said should happen isn't going to happen.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
just some background, we got new council members, so every year council gets a letter, I think it's an email now they send. Every year, council has the opportunity to object to the renewal of any liquor license in the city. There are limited grounds on which you can be successful, and it's generally, it's got to be a lot of criminal activity for the most part, or a whole lot of underage drinking and sales going on in that location. But if council objects, if there's a liquor permit holder that is causing problems, and you can file an objection, we always ask the clerk to check the box to have the hearing locally instead of in Columbus, which is a nice change in the law, so we can do it here. And we've had a few over the years that they've had their permits pulled as a result of those hearings. This one was, kind of an initial thing, but they just never had the hearing because one thing and another kept pushing it off, and at this point, they don't have an active license now. So there's no point to have a hearing on whether they should be able to renew it. But council will be getting, or the clerk's office at least, will be getting a letter, I think it's in March sometime. Here's where they are. You can go on a link and look at, here's all the permit holders in Norwood, and if there are any particular problem areas, and I don't know of any really right off the top of my head, not like we've had in the past anyway. Council can request that there be an objection. And of course, if there's a transfer, those come to council can file an objection at that time. But that's kind of the liquor license interaction between council and the state.
All right, any other discussion? Motion is to receive and file the letter. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Ms. Royce?
Yes.
Mr. Kelch?
Yes.
Mrs. Winterbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Braden?
Yes, sir.
Third on our communications is Mayor's Court fines from Mayor Snyder.
Dear Mr. President and council members, enclosed, please find the report from Norwood Mayor's Court for the month of January 2022. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Victor Snyder, Mayor, City of Norwood.
Mr. Braden.
Motion to receive and file the administration report.
Motion to receive and file?
Yeah.
Ms. Royce.
Can I second the motion?
Mrs. Royce, sorry.
Can I second the motion, please?
Second. Please call, any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Ms. Royce?
Yes.
Mr. Kelch?
Yes.
Mrs. Winterbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Braden?
Yes, sir.
Motion passes. Moving on, we have no absent members. I have a motion to adjourn. Ms. Franzen.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Question. We don't have, I'm sorry. We
Okay.
don't have to excuse Ken?
Me?
We don't have to excuse Ken?
I don't know, do we excuse Ken? I guess we could.
Sure, yeah. Just curious.
I was just thinking of
That's my boy.
Yeah. Take care of it. Got it. Salute Ken.
All right. We'll back up. Mr. Braden.
Motion to excuse the absent member.
Motion to excuse the absent member, Mrs. Hoover.
I second the motion.
Second from Mrs. Hoover. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Ms. Royce?
Yes.
Mr. Kelch?
Yes.
Mrs. Winterbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Braden?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brayton,
Motion to adjourn.
have a motion to adjourn. Mr. Kelch.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kelch. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Franzen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoover?
Yes.
Ms. Royce?
Yes.
Mr. Kelch?
Yes.
Mrs. Winterbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Braden?
Yes, sir.
That's it.